cooling.
We missed the video of the leak.
Yeah. Shit, I lit myself up with fucking MSD.
Yeah. About peeked down his leg.
I don't think there's any, huh? Well. There's some in there. Not much. I'm checking it in the wrong spot. There we got it. It's full. Full oil. So, let's figure out how the fuck we're gonna get this in there. Hopefully that truck will start. Drag it around. Ratchet strap the son bitch in if I have to. Or take the mower. Use the mower to try to push it in once we get it down there.
Golf cart?
I don't think golf cart will push it. It's like 8,000 pounds.
Smart car?
Smart car, yeah.
I don't want my mower broke. It's almost mowing season.
Buddy, you and your tags.
Huh?
He's got stickers for those
Yeah, I got
ones.
stickers.
21.
What's that tag off?
Probably the car trailer, the open trailer, the one you've been missing.
Why is it? 20, I don't know on that one.
We're getting lost in our tags here. Apparently mine are expired. Jason has brought that to my attention, so need to get tags for the van.
You want to drive or steer? Whatever you don't want to do. Strap over there.
Got decent fuel in.
And there's Allie with dinner. I am not. What's it, Ted?
I just came back from getting your guys' dinner.
That's strange.
Cool beans and chicken wings.
We got planned for tonight.
Volleyball. Hippers.
Or your dad's attempting to do some sketchy stuff.
What is he doing?
Going to push the truck with the smart car.
Ugh. Well, I saw you pulling it
You
and
want to drive the smart car? You want to push you?
Nope.
I don't trust myself with that. I don't want to be responsible for that thing snapping.
Probably.
Or accidentally running the smart car back into the truck. I'm not going to be responsible for that.
Do not try this at home.
Just run him over, it's alright. You gotta move it down.
No. It's been so long since we did race car stuff, we forgot how to do it.
It's supposed to be the other way around. Who's going to watch that and make sure it don't bend right there?
I don't like that responsibility.
You can see it. You drive now, you want me to drive? Huh?
I don't think he wants to be responsible for it either.
Oh boy.
Full steam ahead.
No. Nice and slow.
Ready? Yep.
Allie, go in the garage, make sure you don't hit anything.
Watch the mirrors there. Good?
Come on, little bee.
You know what to do.
Go.
That's why I had to back up a little bit. That's why I said we don't have to be all the way down the way down.
Come over here, come on. Jackson stepped on my Air Forces and now they're all dirty.
What's happening, everybody? We are back.
So, as you've seen from the video, the car went on a little trip.
Yep, it was a horrible trip. Nothing but rain, pouring rain. I don't know that we went the speed limit for probably more than 30 miles the whole dang trip, but nevertheless, we got there. Extremely high winds, trees blown over, telephone poles blown over, roofs, shingles blown off. I mean, it was just it was a hell of a trip. The car made it there safe. Everything went good with that. On the way back, we tried to stop to eat, and like no place, if they did have power at that point in time, they didn't for a good while earlier, so it was kind of hard to find somewhere to eat because they sent everybody home. Yeah.
Big thanks to Gavin and Jason Malone.
Yeah. Big thanks to them. That was what, 8-hour trip turned into a, I don't know, I got home at what, 1:40 something.
Yeah, and you guys left
We left
around
at like
8.
Yeah, it was just, it's a good thing they didn't have much to do the next day. So
we thought we would use some of this time today before our next video to kind of go over a few comments that we were getting a lot of, just to kind of address them. And one of the major ones was Holley versus FuelTech. So do you care to elaborate a little bit on why you selected FuelTech versus Holley?
I mean, it can, but it's very vague because I've got really no experience with either one of them. So, let me get situated here. My thoughts are I don't know either of them, and I also feel like the data's the data, fuel injection's fuel injection. If at some point I went that way, it's all the same information. It's just how you get it out of your ECU or what you have to do to find it. So, honestly, talking with Jasper, he says he just said it was easier this, easier that. I noticed a couple local guys was selling their Holley systems, and when I asked why, they said they were buying FuelTech. And why on that? It's because you cannot get through to Holley's tech. You can't get anybody on the phone. And like, personally, every time I've called FuelTech, I've gotten somebody on the phone within a few minutes. You know, maybe Holley's working on that, but it's been a while that I've been hearing that. So even though most of the people around here that I know are Holley, and they say, go Holley, we know it will help you, it seems like if you don't get or do exactly what they say, you don't get the help. I went through it, I put a Holley setup on the car, and I got very little help. The one guy that I did get the help was limited on what he knew about that system and was able to help me, you know what I mean? So it was hard, and I took it off, put the carburetor back on it, and fired the car up and went racing, and then sold that. It wasn't a high level, it was the Holley Super Sniper, the big 4150 or 4500 carburetor looking thing, but still it was a step in that direction so I could start learning. Holley told me, when we did get somebody on the phone, Holley told me that it won't work on my setup because I don't make X amount of power naturally aspirated. And I think, what was it, 800? I didn't make 800 horse naturally aspirated, so it won't work. It won't work, it won't work. Turns out the guy I sold it to out in California had very, very, very similar to my engine with one on it, and he was having great success. He was buying the other one for another one that he was doing that was basically the same. It is what it is. It's in the past now, but my experience getting help with Holley was not the greatest. So being able to actually get somebody on the phone with FuelTech and talk to them, that's a big thing to me. That's why I went with FuelTech.
And I know a lot of people have mentioned in the comments about the FuelTech class.
Yes.
How do you feel, and what's your take on that?
It would be great. Like, it's, what is it? The 5-day class is like $1,500. It's rather expensive, but from what I understand talking with them, that it's pretty in depth. Like, you're gonna know what you're doing when you leave. It isn't really feasible for me in my life because I, like most, have to go to work every day. It's really hard for me to take 5 days off, 6-7 days off with travel to go to Georgia to take the class. So it's kind of out of the question right now. I just don't know how I would be able to make it work unless I took like a vacation week, which it has went through my head, but then that's gonna take away pretty much 5 Fridays of racing that I would be able to go race. So it's bouncing around in my head. If I can make it work, do it. But you know, the stay, everything, it's going to be expensive and take a week of vacation from me. And I don't know, it's, yeah. That's just what I'm thinking. So I do have Holley on Jess's car, the Terminator X. Once the transmission goes into it, it's going to be a Terminator X Max ECU to control the transmission.
So you're not down talking Holley at all. You're just saying there's some issues.
Holley's a good system. Like, it's, if you know it, if you got people that you can count on to help, it's badass. There's like very little that it can't do. If, you know, I don't know what it can't do. Wipe your ass maybe, mix you a drink. But it will run everything that you want it to run. It will do whatever you tell it to do. I mean, that's just the way it is. But for the reason I went with FuelTech on this was because you can actually get somebody on the phone to talk to them.
And you being new to it, you need that.
And I'm new to it. I've got to learn it all anyway. I probably should have went with one system on everything and learn it and then venture off, but I feel, this is my personal, I feel like it's more imperative for me to learn this system at this point because it's on a nitrous car and it don't take much of a mess up to hurt something on a nitrous car. So I'm more focused on trying to learn this than I am the Holley. I know a little bit about the Holley, but like I've said in previous videos, I'll learn it and then forget it by the time I use it again because it's just out of season and I'm not doing it. So that is the way my mind works. If I don't do it, I forget it. But I do have a good start on a Holley system for the other car, the twin turbo car, if ever it gets done. I don't know at this point when, where, how. I've got some stuff still left that I didn't use on the other car that I can work on that car to get something done to it, but I do have Holley for it, and there's still a lot that I've got to get for it. But we're gonna see how the FuelTech goes, and I feel more confident that I'm going to learn the FuelTech faster than I'm going to learn the Holley, because I've looked at the Holley, I've got it on her car, and like, shit just don't register. I don't use it a whole lot, but it's like, what, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm making a mistake completely by getting away from what I got, but what I got, I didn't know everything about all aspects. So this way I have to learn it. I don't even know how else to say it or compare, because I've got no real world experience. So I'm going all off word of mouth. This is easier to learn, and it's a better system and all that. Everybody's got their own opinion, but that's why I went with it.
All right.
Next question.
Well, these are coming from your comments, from your viewers. So, something else that somebody had mentioned that they would like for you to go over for people that are new to your channel is kind of the updates on the new car versus the old car. What have you upgraded?
This can get lengthy.
And we may have missed some things.
Yeah, there may be some things missed, but that's what.
He's got a list.
We got 19 things wrote down. That's just a quick run through of.
And again, the car's not here, so.
Yeah, I would like to have the car here to be able to point it out. So shocks, struts. I now have long travel struts where I did not have long travel struts before. We were able to get an extra inch out of them, and Jeff Thomas come on board and took my shocks and my struts off the car and made them long travel, and went through, checked everything, made sure everything was good, new fluid, did his thing to them. So that is one. We got 20 because I just remembered another one.
We are in the RV today because Darren's still having an off day. It kind of hit and miss, so we came out here so we wouldn't bother him. Okay, what do you got next?
Jeff Thomas's K-member spacers to drop the K-member down, and it helps the geometry for the long travels on your front wheels, your caster, camber, everything in the front end. It helps with all that to keep it in while you're extended and down. Brakes, front and rear. So we now have TBM front and rear, which are super light. They're a badass brake. And what I had was aerospace on the front and drum brakes on the back. So the brakes are helping in many ways. Stopping force, weight over what I had is like just in the front. I can't remember exactly what it was, but what was it, like 16 to 18 pounds?
Yeah.
We took off the front brakes, or off the front end, and then drum brakes on the rear. I didn't even weigh that stuff. Like, we took a bunch of weight off just in brakes. With that, going into the rear end, I had a 9-inch in it with an iron center section. We now have an 8/8. The 9-inch was stock width. This one is narrowed, I can't remember how, 2.5 or 3 inches. So we're losing weight going just to the 8/8. We're losing resistance, power loss through the drivetrain by going to the 8/8. And then with how much it's narrowed, we're losing weight there as well. And 8/8s are a gangster rear end. They can be built to do whatever you want. While we're back there on the rear end, I want to go, went from a single bead lock to a double bead lock on the wheels. I don't know, I don't think there's any weight loss. Might be a little bit of weight gain with the wheels that are on it. I'll have to measure them. I don't know if they're a 12 or a 14-inch wheel. I think they're a 12-inch wheel, which I had 12-inch wheels on it, single bead lock. Single bottle to dual bottles. So pressure drop will, the bottle pressure shouldn't drop much, if at all. I'm not sure on that. The cage, I had a mild steel cage in it, a MIG welded mild steel cage. We went to a chromoly cage. It's all TIG welded. I don't know how much weight's lost there, but it all adds up. I'm hoping, I haven't had it on scales, I'm hoping this car is a good bit lighter than the other one. I've got a 2-gallon smaller fuel cell, which is again weight loss, overall weight loss. Granted, it's in the back, but it is overall weight loss. Adjustable torque boxes, upper and lower. That's a pretty good one, because now we have adjustability where we did not have that before.
Those came from Tin Soldiers?
No, the adjustable torque boxes were for the other car.
Oh, gotcha.
They're racecraft adjustable torque boxes. FuelTech. We're taking all the electronics out of the car that were previously in it and putting in FuelTech. And that's going to control everything. Kind of made the decision a few weeks ago that I didn't want to have to bounce into 3 different things or 2 different things or whatever as far as the electronics I've got in it, just adding the FuelTech for data. So we're going to run the ignition and everything with the FuelTech, and I'm only going to have to go into one ECU deal on my laptop. I think that might help me also trying to learn it, because I'm not going into my nitrous controller, my MSD box, and the FuelTech for data. And then data, that's another one that's huge that I didn't have, and we're gonna have all kinds of data. Like, I'm putting as much on this thing as I can, and it's still coming. Like, we're wiring it for stuff that I don't even have yet because I can't afford to get it, but we know what we're getting. So he's going to go ahead and run the wire. We know what we're getting and where it's going, so he's going to go ahead and run the wiring for it, have it in place, so when I can get it, all we got to do is just put it on the car, plug it in, and I'm pretty sure he's even going to try and have everything programmed so that it will actually work. If that's even doable. I don't know a whole lot about it. Like, I've got to learn every aspect of this. The double adjust, that's Tin Soldiers. The double adjustable lower control arms, where I had single adjustable on it before. Lion's brake pedal setup. That is a big one in my book, because this is what caused me to wreck the last car, was the brake pedal setup. It was just stock on the car. It had an aftermarket push rod that had been modified because it wasn't adjustable, so it was modified, and it had broken. It did not break where it was welded, or within so much of where it was welded. So with the Lion's brake pedal, we now have a master cylinder for the front, a master cylinder for the rear. It's all threaded and adjustable. So if, let's say, one would fail, there's the other one for braking power. That one's huge. I still don't know who got that for me, but thank you. Thank you to everybody that's put in on this. It's going over this list. It's like wild. It's crazy. Racetech seat. I raced in a plastic seat. That's what I've raced in my whole life. I was comfortable in it until I sat in a Racetech seat.
Until you had your accident.
Yeah, my tailbone is still messed up. Like, if I sit, granted I'm like off to the side, so I'm not sitting like where my tailbone is, but if I sit, it's whenever I go to get up, it feels like my tailbone's like trying to pull apart until I get up and stand or move around or something. Or if I scoot back, stretch, sit up straight, do all kinds of stuff before I get up, it may not do that, but it's still painful. Still pain in the ass to get up, literally. So the Racetech seat is an improvement, an upgrade, a step up in many ways. The parachute setup, that whole setup is an upgrade compared to what I had. We don't know what size parachute it was. It clearly was not the right size for the car. I think I had only pulled that chute one other time, and it was years ago. It did not slow the car down really at all. Like, I didn't feel it hit. I didn't feel it doing anything. So the parachute setup, we now have a 430 chute. It has a Mac valve to run the air solenoid for the lever. I didn't go with an air launcher. So that's going to pull, I can set that up through the ECU off a timer, and also have a button to shoot to put it out if I get in trouble, and I can hit the button. So it'll have a button, a timer, and if all else fails, it's got the lever. I can pull the lever. There's 3 different ways to deploy that thing. Hopefully we never have to use it other than like we want to. But if the case comes to where I'm in a lot of trouble again, like I was with this last one, we will get it deployed, and it will slow the car down. It is bigger than needed for this car. It's good for, I think, 3,200 pounds at 200 mile an hour. I don't ever see this car going 200 mile an hour. It better not weigh 3,200 pounds. So, parachute's a gangster. I'm happy as hell with it. It's a huge upgrade for the stopping side of it. The carburetors. I've never had a new carburetor built for the car. I've had used ones, and I'm not going to go back on names or anything, but the used carburetor that I had for the car, I was talked in by the builder to send it back for upgrades, and I got it back and it never worked right. Like, it worked good when I sent it to them, and they knew that. They were supposed to keep all the parts just in case, for whatever reason. I was supposed to get my parts back. Granted, it had my jets in it out of my jet kit. It had my air bleeds in it out of my air bleed kits. They swiped it all off in the trash, he said. I got it back. It never worked right like it was supposed to. Like, it was really bad. I had a lot of issues with it. I've got what seems to be a really, I mean, we might be able to crispen it up or whatever, but it's just a base startup right now. I haven't really set timing to what it needs to be at. I haven't went through and readjusted the valves. I mean, there's so much stuff that is going to help this thing run better anyway. The carburetor seems like it's on point right out of the get-go, right off the get-go. And it's ATM Innovations, and that's the 4150. I also have a billet 4500 that they sent me that I cannot wait to get on it. It's a beautiful carburetor. I have all the confidence in the world that it's going to work really good after putting the 4150 on it.
It's very much a showcase piece for
Yeah,
sure.
it
Everybody
is.
that's came over to seen it is just amazed. Jason Malone has been here. Jerry from Bunker Hill Fabrications has seen it.
I've got it sitting on the kitchen table as a centerpiece right now. Pretty much is what it is. Until we can get it on, I definitely don't want to bring it out in the shop and let it get dirty or anything before that happens. Transmission cross member, I ran a stock one and ground the welds to slide it to where it needed to go. We now have a tubular transmission cross member. Motor plates, it's going to be on motor. Well, I've got the front plate on. I have not done the mid plate yet. Whenever I get it back, I've got to get that on. I don't like running anything without one. I don't know if you can or can't. I know some people have. I also know a guy that kept busting transmissions, and I feel that's why. So I won't run it without that. I mean, driving it around ain't no big deal. Bottles themselves. Traded in my old NOS bottles, and we now have all brand new Nitrous Express bottles with the Lightning 500 valves. So That's an upgrade in itself. That's all I'm thinking of. It's a pretty long list. There may be more, I don't know. I can't wait to see what it weighs and how much weight we took off of it. And I'm not even remembering empty without me in the car what the old car weighed. I know with me in it, it was 3,072 pounds, I think, or 31. I think it was 3,072 pounds with me in it. So we'll see where this one's at with me in it. And that was race ready, 3,072 pounds, if I remember correctly. So I would like to see a couple 100 pounds off of it. I don't know that that's feasible, but we tried. I know the doors that I'm running are heavier than my old ones. They're a really nice door, but they're heavier. So took some weight off, put a little bit of weight on. I think we're still going to be a good bit lighter. Like, it should be a good bit lighter. So that's what I've got. If anybody can think of some stuff that we're missing, by all means, you know, shout it out. And if we come up with some stuff, I'll add it in. But that's 20 upgrades over the old car that I come up with, or her and I came up with.
And I will say, during the past few days since the car's been gone, you're messaging back and forth with the person that is doing the wiring, the FuelTech setup.
Correct.
He's 2 days, maybe 2.5 days. I don't know how much time he spent working on it.
I know yesterday they had a few things planned, so he wasn't going to get a whole lot of time to work on it yesterday.
But he's already found some things that we can improve on that we had missed.
Yeah, he's finding things in the wiring that
were not right or missed.
Yeah, it's gonna come back way better than it went. So hopefully what he found, he's got some ideas on why it didn't charge correctly. Granted, we did get it to charge after Gangster Alternator, this, that, and the other. It was charging, but it still wasn't up. You know, it wasn't charging 14.4 or anything. We got it up, I think, 13.4, 13.7, 13.6, somewhere around in there. So hopefully it comes back and it's charging real good. I'll still have to get the alternator set up on it, which, going with a mini, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to go with like a ultra little tiny thing to get it where I want it. I mean, I can put a big one on it, flip it around backwards, put some hokey ass brackets on there and go, but I don't want to do that. Basically for the eye appeal in my mind. Like, it'll drive me crazy if every time I look under there I see an alternator flipped around backwards and a bracket off the tube of the frame, and it's just, I'll run it without one. But that's also weight savings. So we're getting there. That's all I got on that. I mean, I babbled on as much as I can babble about it, but that's what I got. A lot of upgrades. I expect a lot of good things out of the car, but I'm also a skeptic, so, and I'm negative sometimes. So I'm hoping for a lot of good things.